Good evening, YouTube. Welcome back to Paisano's Music and Vinyl Talk. I am Paisano with my lovely co-host Jean-Viev in fine spirits. Fine spirits. Tonight we're going to talk about ACDC and a pretty tragic story. They were coming up to a real tragedy when this one was recorded and released. Their sixth studio album, entitled Highway to Hell. Now, this was released in July of 1979, and lead singer Bon Scott was to die unexpectedly in February of 1980, choking on his own vomit after a wild night of drinking. A real loss, because this was by far their best and most solid studio album up to this point. They were really headed for great things, but they were to achieve great things, but with a different lead singer, which is usually a kiss of death for a band to switch singers. But after the untimely demise of Bon Scott, they recruited Brian Johnson to take over the singing, and Back in Black was a nod to their grieving for Bon Scott. They were back, but they were in black, mourning their previous lead singer, who had finally, with this album, is so ironic, finally with this album, achieved worldwide success, especially in the U.S. I mean, they did have some success with, Let There Be Rock and Dirty Deeds and those records. But this one definitely put them over the top. It was a huge album for them, and a real tragedy. Let's go over the track listing. Side 1, Highway to Hell. Girls Got Rhythm. Walk All Over You. Touch Too Much, and Beaten Around the Bush. Side 2, Shot Down in Flames. Get It Hot. If You Want Blood, You've Got It. Love Hungry Man and Night Prowler. Solid ACDC album. This was the first of 3 albums produced by Robert Mutt Lang. He did this one, Back in Black, and For Those About to Rock. I reviewed For Those About to Rock earlier in the channel. If you get a chance, please check it out. And while we're talking about checking things out, let's talk about subscriptions, shall we? If you're new to the channel, welcome. What do we talk about here?
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Well said, Jean-Viev. Couldn't have said it better. And if you've been watching for some time and freeloading, come on.
Go to the trenches.
It demeans us both.
We will delete the channel.
Well, let's not be rash. Let's not do anything too drastic.
Stop freeloading.
Yeah. What she said. All right. It's not good. It's not good. Just subscribe.
Just go to the trenches.
What's it gonna hurt? Go to the trenches, yeah. Come down to the trenches with Paisano and Jean-Viev. All right? That's where we reside, in the trenches. This album played very well. I obviously didn't play it too much when I was 20 years old and drunk and dropped a needle on it, because sadly that's what happened to a lot of my albums. This is a little clip on the inside of the studio albums up to Back in Black. Quite an impressive body of work for a band that was, musically somewhat limited. I mean, they pretty much made the same album every time, but people just ate it up, and I'm one of them. I'm not saying that that in a derogatory fashion. I mean, these guys essentially made the same album every single time. But Angus was just such a great guitar player, and the band was just so entertaining that you know, the albums all sold great, and the tours all sold out worldwide. This was one of the biggest hard rock bands ever, no doubt. There's a back cover shot of the band as they appeared in 1979, shortly before a massive tragedy. All right. Genevieve and myself would like to thank you for tuning in. Join us Monday night when we grab the Pittsburgh Pirates hat and we draw the album. Genevieve's little fingers will run through
I will
the
dump
little
every
sleeves of
single one out and throw it at the camera.
She's not going to do that.
Oh, I totally
She has
will.
much more respect for the channel than to do something
hell no,
as
Daddy String.
foolish as that. Foolish. All right, until Monday night. Thank you, and good night, YouTube. Say good night, John.
By deformities.